So thank you so much. Actually, Richard texted me a couple days ago, and he said, Bill, Ahmed is coming to the United States. Would you give us the honor of honoring him? And of course. And then Lauren, who's an amazing lawyer, and she won a great case on behalf of the Pershing Square Foundation. Thank you, Lauren. Also texted me and said, Bill. And so two very important people to me called, and extremely important people to our community needed an honor. And I thought, what should I speak about tonight? And I thought, kind of an opportunity to talk about heroism. We're fortunate in the world to have heroes, and heroes are really amazing people. But even among heroes, there's a hierarchy of heroism. Right? If someone breaks into your home and is going to harm your family, a member of the family gets up to fight, that person's a hero. They're stepping in to protect their family. But it's a very different thing when someone, there's a famous, very sad story. 61 years ago in Queens, a woman named Kitty Genovese was being murdered. And she screamed, and there was a fight. 38 people were witnessed the screams, and no one stepped in to save her. Very important story, a very unfortunate story in the history of our city, but it talks about what people call the bystander effect. When there are a lot of people around, the willingness to step forward and put yourself in danger, very few people are willing to do so. I first learned about the Bondi massacre on Twitter. I started to see videos of the shootings, and they just seemed to go on and on and on. And then a video appeared of a man, unarmed, of a similar size to the shooter, but the shooter had a gun, and he snuck up and tackled him. Now, how do I have a video of Ahmed? Because someone else was a witness, but they sat there with their phone recording the events. What he chose to do is step into the fight. He was not a target of the shooter. He could have minded his own business. No one would ever know that he chose not to intervene. So I think that in the hierarchy of heroes, the person that is willing to risk his own life for the benefit of people that he does not know, where he takes on someone who is armed with a weapon and he has none, right? So he's prepared to give up his life, is an amazing person. So, think about the decision to risk your own life for people you don't know and for people for whom you're not a target. And I think, why is this man, this hero, why was there such an outpouring to support him? I think that was an important part of it. But if you bring him kind of back to this evening, it's been more challenging to be a member of the Jewish community since October 7th. I grew up really without any, there was social anti-Semitism when I grew up. The country club across the street did not have Jewish members. That was the extent of the anti-Semitism that I experienced. We started the foundation about 20 years ago. My father at every board meeting would say, Bill, we're not doing enough for the Jews. We're not doing enough about anti-Semitism. And I would say, Dad, the Jews are doing great, and I don't see any anti-Semitism. My dad was so concerned about the issue that when he passed away and wrote me letters of instruction in advance of a surgery that he thought could cost him his life, he wrote me letters saying, Bill, this is how I want you to handle my funeral arrangements. There was a letter from him about how I should call my mom every day, which I have not yet done, so I'm going to have to call Mom today. And Bill, I'm very concerned about anti-Semitism. You need to do more about anti-Semitism. And I think, the October 7th was one of the most horrible days in the world, a very horrendous day for the Jewish people. But in some ways, October 8th was as bad. And because we saw a response on university campuses, on the campus, a school I attended, which was not about supporting the Jews, but in fact was supportive of the terrorists. And that made, I think, the last couple of years has been more challenging for Jewish people because, a reminder that we're 0.2% of the world, and that, you know, so I think, you know, seeing someone step forward on behalf of people he didn't know to risk his own life, and, you know, the calculus of going after a guy with a gun, you know, I mean, he's a strong man, but he was taking on a man of similar size, is really one of the great acts of heroism, and I think it was very reaffirming to the Jewish community to have someone stand up on behalf of our community in the most profound, life-affirming way you can. So that's why we're here. So thank you so much. And a very, very appropriate, about the most beautiful such honorarium I've seen. If you think about the menorah, it represents endurance, represents courage, represents persistence, and most of all represents light, and light in the darkness. And this man deserves this incredible award.
And even if you say goodbye, you'll never go away. You are the rainbow in my sky. My colors are the gray. My only wish upon a star. Sunshine in the day. The only song that my piano ever played.
So lastly, I actually was not familiar with Colel Chabad, but I thought in honor of the victims, in honor of the man, I thought to make a $180,000 donation toward. Thank you.